Hello and welcome to the Tuesday, November 18th, 2025 edition of the SANS Internet Storm Center's Stormcast. My name is Johannes Ulrich, recording today from Jacksonville, Florida. And this episode is brought to you by the SANS.edu Graduate Certificate Program in Penetration Testing and Ethical Hacking. In Diaries today, we got an update from Didier to his numbers to hex script. The script as it existed so far basically just scanned input for decimal numbers and then converted them to hex. This was useful to deobfuscate some scripts that basically use like these sort of char functions and such to decode decimal numbers into strings. Well, last week, we had a post by Xavier who looked at a form book example that used a similar obfuscation trick, but instead of just having simple numbers, well, there were some arithmetic expressions included as well in this particular file. Now, Didier updated his script in order to deal with these, as he calls them, binary expressions. So they're not the binary number system instead, or base 2. Instead, they are just arithmetic expressions with two components, like in this example, 79 plus 1 or 80 plus 7. So the new version of numbers to hex will now first resolve these simple arithmetic expressions and then decode the numbers to hex. And then you can feed them to additional scripts like to convert the hex into ASCII characters, for example, in order to, as in this case, decode some PowerShell script. So real handy if you have to do a lot of these decoding tasks and such to have these scripts around. And one story that really doesn't go away is attacks against the NPM ecosystem. The latest attack is, well, at first not really all that severe, but shows yet another problem with this ecosystem, and that's that Amazon found 150,000 packages being published to NPM with pretty much no functionality. Now, these were not malicious in the sense that they contained malware or stole credentials like some of the packages we had in the past. Instead, they really just tried to mine a new cryptocurrency, T. The idea behind this T token is at first kind of neat in the sense that it tries to reward people for open source contributions, but apparently they are not actually checking the quality of these contributions. So what the attacker tried to do here is by publishing 150,000 packages with their T token information as part of these packages, they basically try to get credit for all of these contributions. But actually, all they did was cause harm, pollute the NPM ecosystem even more than it's now. And Amazon, with its inspector tool, was luckily able to identify some of these packages and have them removed. And then we got a number of critical vulnerabilities for IBM AIX users. These vulnerabilities affect NIMSH, the network installation manager, and this particular tool has had vulnerabilities like this in the past, but one of the vulnerabilities here does reach up to a perfect CVSS score of 10, and some of the others also are like in the 9s with essentially arbitrary remote code execution capabilities. NIMSH or NIM is really meant sort of for remote code execution, supposed to be a little bit a better replacement for RSH. It does offer TLS, but it's not really replacing SSH. That's probably what should really be used here, but it's part sort of that IBM AIX ecosystem, and as such, pretty popular and often exposed, usually on port 3901 and 3902. Well, and that's it for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing, and talk to you again tomorrow. Bye.